assalamu alaikum, Jiayanu, Pakhairagale, Ni hao, Chunashume, Washmale, Ohio, Gonzaimes, Guten Morgen, Hola, Bonjour, Privyet, Kaifahal, Halishuma Chatore, Ahlan Wasalan Marhaba, and a very amazing good morning to everybody who's tuned into PTV World and watching World this morning, alongside the very amazing Shiza Hashmi and Shazad Khan. Hello Shiza, how are you today?
I'm great, how are you?
Absolutely
Ever
perfect.
so energetic.
Thank you very much for that. What's happening?
You know, we're having a great morning because of the weather, of course, since we always talk about the amazing weather in Islamabad. But there's one thing I want you all to say. You know, when I was coming here, now you're going to say I always happen to witness such things, but two motorbikers slipped in front of me because the road was so slippery and there was a lot of water. And because they were on the road, this sort of created stampede situation and people were blocked. So no one was hurt, thankfully, but be careful about that.
But were they wearing their helmets?
No, they were not.
God,
they were not. Please do not forget to wear you know, it's for your own safety and for the people around you as well.
So people, please make sure that you wear your helmets too as well, because you've got loved ones at home. And in fact, you know, most of the time, people who are actually going on bikes, they're going to drop their kids to school. So please make sure that your kids wear helmets too as well.
True.
But other than that, there's one thing which I witnessed as well. So while I was on my way, you know, there was quite a lot of water on the road. And then there was this car from the left, and the guy actually wanted to turn on the lane. So what I was thinking was that, God forbid, if I was driving faster, you know, what would have happened is that, you know, I would have splashed water right onto him. So please make sure that you roll up your windows just in case, to keep yourself dry. And
no, but have you ever done that? Accidentally, maybe unintentionally?
Accidentally, it happened once, and I got slapped by my father too as well, that, you know, you do not have any etiquettes to drive.
No, but that's the right thing
to do. But I was very young,
you learned.
And I apologize to that person as well. So if you are listening, please accept my apologies. But that's what it is. But ladies and gentlemen, let's get started. You know, today we've got some top stories, and a few of them are very amazing too as well. Let's go ahead, let's take a look, and good morning.
Good morning.
Let's do it.
Pakistan Television has won its first Asia Pacific Institute for Broadcasting Institute Award 2018. Wow.
I feel so proud about that.
I know, part of it.
Yeah. Did they mention our names though?
Hope so.
All right, moving on. And today, every Pakistani remembers the Shahnshah Ghazal, where the 91st birth anniversary of King of Ghazal, Mehdi Hasan, is being observed today. And even Google is paying a rich tribute by having a doodle, which is actually showcasing Mehdi Hasan Saab as well. What
because he's worth it.
Yes, yes. And his contributions are tremendous to the industry too as well. And my father still loves him. So I've got a reason to love him too as well. I love him. Wow.
My parents are their fans.
Wow.
Well, for most New Yorkers, pigeons are just rats with wings, but for artist Tina Pina, also known as Mother Pigeon, the birds are misunderstood animals that have a lot to offer.
What did they say? Rats with wings? Come on, New Yorkers.
Who says that?
You have to have some sense. It seems those wanting to follow an authentic paleo diet should focus on fish, after research found it was the main source of protein for Stone Age people in southern Scandinavia 10,000 years ago. Well, I'm seriously very curious, how do they even find out what happened 10,000 years ago? I guess it's a difficult job as well. All right, ladies and gentlemen, these were the top stories in time now for one very important message which needs to go out as well, and that is that, you know, if he would have been alive, it would have been his 100th birthday today. You know, we're talking about the president of South Africa, the former president of South Africa, Nelson Mandela, who was a human rights activist himself, and he taught about freedom, he talked about dignity, and he was the one who actually taught the world how to make difference in anybody's life, and a beautiful difference, and which actually takes you in a positive direction, and there's so much to learn from him. So we are paying rich tribute to him and to Shahnshah Ghazal as well at the same time. But let's talk about, you know, human rights, or in fact, let's talk about women empowerment today.
You know, since you already talked about Nelson Mandela, he was the one who was voicing the marginalized communities, you know? And I think it's safe to say that in some parts of the world, still women are marginalized community in terms of getting in, you know, equal rights.
You know what?
Well, we always talk about women empowerment on our shows, but advocating rights is something else. And practically doing something to pull out of troubles is something else. So this is what we're going to talk about today.
It is. And ladies and gentlemen, I'll definitely try to take another path as well so that we can do justice with the topic. But to discuss this, and since, you know, Shizab talked about that, you know, that they're a marginalized segment of the society, but there are people who step up in the game, who want to do something for them as well. So that's what we have done today. So we are going to have a perspective of a lawyer and a political social activist as well. But other than that, we're going to have a perspective of somebody who stepped up, who did something, made an example out of herself. You know, there are too many books written about her. You know, she's been talked quite a lot. She's on TEDx. She's everywhere else. Well, she's a social entrepreneur. She's the founding member of Kashyap, the Introductions Long, which is a microfinance organization. And she helped 300,000 women clients and dispersed them microloans as well. Other than that, she is currently heading Circle. And she brought this competition, She Loves Technology, to Pakistan, which is one of the biggest competitions in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, she's none other than Miss Sadaf Abid. Hello, assalamu alaikum, how are you?
Assalamu alaikum, ji. It's great being here with you.
Thank you very much for joining us. And last but not the least, ladies and gentlemen, as I said, that she's a political social activist, she's a lawyer, she's done quite a lot for the education of women. Talking precisely as well, she's none other than Miss Rubab Mehdi Rizvi. Hello, assalamu alaikum, how are you?
It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much for joining us. So let's get the conversation started. Sadaf, I'll do it with you as well to talk about that. You know, you came up with this initiative of Circle, and then first of all, let's start with Kashyap. Okay. So why do you think that, you know, there was a need for you to step up and disperse 300,000 loans, micro loans, and it's not that easy to as well?
It's a great question. You know, any country you look at for prosperity, women have to be a part of it. Yeah. And in Pakistan, we have less than 10% women who have access to financial services. Okay. So Kash was based on the belief that microfinance can play a key role in giving women economic opportunities. Okay. So we were inspired by Professor Yunus, who got the Nobel Peace Prize, the first organization to bring it to Pakistan. And we started from 2 small rooms as a startup. It was like a lab. We were going out, meeting the women, living around Lahore and understanding their needs. And what we realized was, where do they go? They either put money in committees. My mother used to put money in committee. And the other option is the money lender. And the money lender is charging 300%, 500%, 700%. So there are, and a regular bank at that time at least was not looking at their needs. So that's what compelled us. And we started designing financial products, and alhamdulillah, it was an amazing journey. From 2 rooms, 7 team members, to then over a decade take it to 300,000 women, and from 7 team members grow to 2,000. And 40% of our team members were women. Wow. Wow. So that was also very exciting, you know, having women in your teams, in your leadership. My colleague who I did it with, Roshane, we worked very closely together in building this organization, and the women who worked with us came from very humble backgrounds. Right. People said to us, this is not going to work. You know, people will not pay their money back. Pakistanis, you know, that's a tough one. Right. Second, you won't find women who'd like to work in the organization because this requires field work, community work. They won't get permission from their parents. Right. Third, you won't get women who'll take the loan because unke husbands will not allow it. But I think a lot of these things, while barriers are there, no doubt, women face a lot of barriers. However, you know, when you have a vision and when you really believe that you want to make a difference, I think you meet a lot of like-minded people who support you. And I really feel Allah, universe, comes together, you know, to support something good. And mashallah, we were able to grow and make a difference.
Now, it's been quite some years since you've been doing this. The people you have helped, do you see that they have now become change agents?
Yes, and you know, building on the success of Kash is how I set up Circle. So in between, I went for 1 year for my master's to the Harvard Kennedy School. Okay, wow. And it was great being a student because you're not running an organization, there's no pressure, you're just meeting great people, your faculty, courses, and you know, Harvard has a beautiful campus, Charles River is flying through, you're close to nature, you're feeling blessed every day. And after that, basically the idea of Circle emerged, and Circle is based on providing leadership development opportunities to women. Because another thing I'd like to bring out is, you know, only 2% women in Pakistan are on leadership roles or in boards. So while things are changing, but it's not fast enough. And we know that diversity boosts the bottom line. Right. If you have men and women in leadership teams, organizations do much better.
Much better, right.
Because you get a different perspectives. You get more sustainable ideas. You get innovation.
Exactly.
If you fill a room with same people, innovation doesn't happen. So we're trying to change that. In Pakistan, less than 25% women are part of the formal economy. It's one of the lowest in the world.
Right.
We will definitely come back to that, but since you mentioned about Harvard Kennedy School as well, so I want to move on to Mr. Bob over here, because she managed to guard a few civil servants who were women, ladies and gentlemen, into Cambridge and Oxford too as well. How did that happen?
Well, basically, it's about women, speaking out for women. One of the things that we've been trying to do, as Sadaf was speaking, is empowerment is not possible up until the time there is education.
Okay.
And we have been campaigning in the UK for scholarships aimed at women to fill in the gender gap.
Okay.
And there will also be a conference. We've been campaigning with the Nest. Some amazing civil servants, ITRAT, and all these people are campaigning for at least 50% of the scholarships to go to women.
Okay.
And in November, there will be a conference at the House of Lords between the British Judiciary and the British Women Association, Women Bar Association, Solicitors Association, and the lawyers over here, and the scholarships aimed at female lawyers to fill in the gender gap in the legal profession.
Okay.
And as Sadaf just said, that it is very important for women to be given their rightful place in the society. That is not possible up until the time the women are educated. So if you look at the Pakistani statistics right now, we have 173 primary schools.
Okay.
115 are for men, and I think
the rest of them.
I think it's 173. I'm talking in millions. Primary schools, 115 for men, and 58 million for women. So there is a lot of gender gap.
Right.
And then when you look at the political process, I have been a Pakistani suffragette as well, because we campaigned for women to become a part of the electoral process with activists like Shad Begum and all these people. And Marina Mahathir, the Malaysian Prime Minister's daughter, also joined in our campaign when the women were disenfranchised in Dir. So after that, as you saw, that women came in large numbers and they took part in the electoral process. But, you know, in the absence of the computerized NIC numbers, up until the time they're educated, they will not be, the gender gap will not be filled. And not just that, one more step that we have taken is that even on the religious aspects, from the last 7 to 8 years, we have recognized the important role played by women in the different religious persuasions. So at the House of Lords, which last year it was called as one of the most important events at Westminster, that is when the leading women from the Jewish tradition, the leading women from the Christian tradition, the leading women from the Muslim tradition, and all the different religious persuasions. We had the chaplain from the House of Lords, who happens to be a woman as well. So since the last 7 to 8 years, we have been encouraging women to not only play their rightful part in the society, but also to bridge, because you see, women essentially are bridge builders. As mothers, if given in this conflict-ridden times, the one power, as Quaid-e-Azam used to say, that there are two powers that govern the world. One is the pen and the one is the sword, and there's significant rivalry between the two. And the third power is that of women. Why? Because they are essentially bridge builders.
Okay, I'm sorry to bring this up, but since, you know, whatever activity you've been part of, there's too much England in it, you know, or probably United Kingdom. How do you think that you're going to bridge the gap in between from while being in England and then talking about women in Pakistan?
Just the way, you see now, people are talking about, first of all, Shehzad, I'm on your show almost every other month. So I'm traveling between two edges. I'm a British Pakistani. So I spend quite a lot of time in Britain and over here in Pakistan. So like I said, I did play my role in Dir I played the role in the electoral process. I have an eye, and we have been campaigning for the education.
Doing your job, you're playing a good role.
This is why you're here.
I'm just not.
And we need ambassadors out of Pakistan also for us. So I think that's very important.
And also we are in touch. We are so much in touch. Sometimes, Shehzad, what happens is that I have been able to get to the grassroots in Pakistan while being over there, because sometimes when we live over here, we live in a bubble, unfortunately. And, you know, it's like this drawing room circle, drawing room conversations. I got to know about the plight of the ordinary man when I went over there, because that's actually when the interaction happens. And the campaign for the education, I have been able to do, while you will see the difference in the 50%.
Well, that is great. Okay, that's great. So let me just move back to Sadaf over here now. So Sadaf, let's talk about this competition, because you know there's been quite a lot of episodes where we've been talking about women empowerment, you know, women economic empowerment and whatnot. And one way or the other, it makes me sad that you know that the affairs are really not in the pace or in the right pace. So today, you know, we are highlighting what you've done for the economic women empowerment as well, what Mr. Bob has done as well. So let's talk about this competition, which you brought down to Pakistan, which is with the name of She Loves Tech. And it's in 14 different countries as well. It's one of the biggest competitions. What is it? Tell us about that.
So it's very exciting. Circle has brought She Loves Tech, and She Loves Tech started last year when I was in Malaysia. I was speaking at the Lean In Summit. I was a keynote speaker there. And I met Virginia Tan, who's the founder for She Loves Tech, and she told me, you know, I'm coming up with this idea of supporting women using technology and encouraging women businesses, and I thought it's a great idea. And she said, would you be interested to take it to Pakistan? And I thought, why not? So this just shows you the power of an idea. If you believe in an idea, we literally started from scratch last year. We had a very successful round at IBA Karachi. 350 people came. 70% of the audience was women. Now that's very unusual. You go to most gatherings, you find 10% women, 20% women. So the whole idea behind this competition is increase visibility of women who are using technology for change and empowerment. And we're very excited because now it's the world's largest women and startup competition. Pakistan gets to participate.
Now that's brilliant.
Yeah, it's super exciting. And just yesterday in Islamabad at we had the She Loves Tech Islamabad round. So we had 7 pitches. Women came from Peshawar also to pitch their ideas. And we have 2 winners who now be participating in the finals on August 18th at NIC Karachi.
So it was open to all?
Open to everyone actually. We've had rounds in Lahore, Islamabad. Now end of this month is Karachi.
Is it really open to everyone because it says She Loves Tech?
Well, it's open to
any woman of any age.
Any woman of any age. And by the way, Shehzad, men can apply if they're using technology to solve problems that women face. Or if you have a co-founder who's a woman. So it's inclusive in that way. Because we're encouraging, let's solve Pakistan's problems. And I'll tell you, one of the startups in Lahore who's a winner has a health platform, and they put up information on doctors, and when patients go, they can write reviews, so it's all online.
This is what our next segment is all about too as well. But talking about this, so what will happen with the lady who's actually going to win in Karachi? What will happen then?
So 10 of the best startups from Pakistan will get to pitch over there, and the winner goes to China, Beijing. All expenses paid. They will go over there and they will get mentorship, access to investment opportunities, plus a whole boot camp and pitch in the finals.
So want to change my gender right away. All right, I'm coming to China. Come on.
And imagine this for a Pakistani woman now to go to Beijing, represent our country, and to compete with 14 other finalists.
So it's a big boost. A lot as well.
And your second team is they're going to get 100,000 rupees from Kargil, and the third one gets 50,000 rupees for their startup. So that's also, I think, very good. And we're also very proud to have HPL Nisa who's supporting us, because it's all about financial inclusion.
But they're not supporting our TV show right now, so it's perfectly all right. So now I want to come down to Ruba. I'm sorry that I'm taking most of the time. But there's this narrative. So one of the women was here on the show, and she said that for women empowerment or women economic empowerment, we need men to be a part of this activity and this journey too as well. And then there was a counter narrative that, if you're talking about empowerment, how do you think that one person's actually going to let go of the power which he is currently enjoying? And this is why we speak of it. Do you agree to this narrative? You do not agree to this narrative? What do we do? Because we are stigmatized.
I think we are easily offended. I think to solve problems...
I'm here to create balance, don't worry.
In order to solve problems, we need to talk about them. And Shehzad, one of the problems that we have is that when one gender thinks that they are more superior than the other, despite such strong laws, we've got one of the best laws. I mean, if you talk about the forced marriages laws, or if you talk about the honor crime laws, we've got one of the best laws. I mean, some of the laws that you have over here are even more powerful than the ones that you have in England. But despite that, why do the atrocities happen? Yeah. They happen because the mindset has to be changed, where one gender thinks that they are superior to the other. And this is not only something that is against our religion, it is against our country. It goes because, you see, one of my, if I can just very quickly bring, one of my favorite names of God is Rahman. And why is Rahman my favorite name? Because that is the all-inclusive God. Even if you don't believe in him, he gives to you. Right. So his mercy is not restricted to the people who believe in him. Yeah. And from that word Rahman comes the word Raham, which means the female womb. So essentially, the women, according to God, have been the healers of mankind. How is it that in a country that is an Islamic country, the women get killed for not giving a glass of water? One gender feels that they are so superior, that they can feel that the women are objects. Things are changing, as Sadaf said, and people are talking about it, but that change is not as fast as it should be.
You're right.
Yes, it's true.
That's what I said too as well.
Because we're facing a problem like a mindset here. I mean, you can mobilize women, you can get them to schools, you can get them to offices. Yes. But when you're tackling a mindset, is obviously going to take a very long time.
And we have a Shiza adding to what has just been said, because, you know, you need men as allies. The thing is, change is not going to happen by just empowering women.
You're right.
We need men on our side. We need men who believe in it and who really see, because it's about creating a family where men and women thrive, and it's about creating a society where men and women thrive. Right. And a work culture where both can thrive, because ultimately that's where the success is. And that's the goal we try and champion. So we actually at Circle have something called Elevate Champions. Okay. And the idea behind Elevate Champions is to become advocates for gender diversity. Organizations build culture where there is flexibility, women get maternity leave, there's daycare centers, there's paternity leave. You know, men need to...
That's cool, I know, right?
I've heard about it for the very first time.
Wow.
Yes, inclusion. By the way, in our own country, there are companies that are offering paternity leave, but it's not as widespread. And it needs to happen because we need an inclusive culture.
Yeah, because otherwise, you know, we're going to fail terribly. And, you know, the need of the hour is that, you know, women actually needs to step up. They need to be side to side, play their role as well, and add up to the economy of the country.
And very quickly, if I may add, Shehzad, that actually we live in two extremes. I'm like, there's the circle of Begum Sahabs, where actually the man is oppressed, and they'll just put their feet up and choose on ways of spending money. That is just a very small. So, you know, I think what we need to do is that we need to lead our lives as whole. Oppression on a man cannot mean women empowerment. We need to get rid of the gender stereotypes. And again, very quickly, again, Shehzad will say that this is England specific, but we've been trying to get women on scholarships in Pakistan, and recently in February we arranged this conference where we made sure that the women from British Pakistani origin became a part. We were encouraging them to become a part of the political parties in England, like the Conservative and the Labour Party. So it was pretty much targeting women and youth leadership over there, because unfortunately this is not something that is specific to Pakistan. It's something that is fairly universal, the gender gap.
Okay, but very quickly, you know, I'm sorry that I have to tap onto the issue as well, because we have to wrap up the segment, and we're going to talk about an IT solution as well in the next segment, and that is what I consider to be the problem is that, you know, the mothers actually nurture their boys in a different way and their daughters in a very different way. For example, if there's chicken and vegetable in the fridge, the chicken goes to the son and vegetable goes to the daughter. So once again, I think the responsibility lies on the women too as well when they're mothers.
And you know, telling young girls that you can do anything. You can go into technology, you can be an engineer, you can fly a plane. That's what She Loves Tech is inspiring. You know, and the next jobs are in technology.
Exactly.
Whether it's in Pakistan or globally, you know, it's innovation is happening in technology. And Pakistan, with 60% of our population under the age of 30, we don't have enough jobs. And I really think we should do a full-fledged campaign around getting girls into technology. So we also teach Shahzad and Shahzad coding and web development skills to young women.
I was going to ask, are you also approaching, holistically? You know, are you also giving them out some teachings or trainings?
So we have life skills.
Okay.
We have trainings on building confidence, problem solving, leadership.
Okay.
And in fact, the model that we're teaching them, adaptive leadership, was pioneered at Harvard, and I was a teaching fellow. Wow. So we're bringing this to girls from Baldia and Kurangi. Okay. And I am so impressed by them. I am so humbled by them. You know, these are young women. One of them started crying in front of me. She said, my father got paralyzed last year. My mother's a teacher. We're surviving on her income. I am here because I want to earn more. Now, most of the girls in our country start becoming teachers. As teachers, they earn 5,000, 6,000, 7,000. That's nothing. And there's no upward mobility. We need to bring technology to this.
I have a very quick question since we are on Circle. Since we were talking about almost 25% of women in Pakistan are actually contributing to the economy. But once they start contributing to the economy, automatically we are addressing, gender inequality and poverty. So are there any prerequisites or is there a standard of eligibility to who can seek loans from Circle?
So Circle is not directly giving loans. We used to do that when I was at Kash Foundation. Okay. We are actually providing technical skills, skills development. We're giving digital skills to young women, and we're giving them opportunities to participate in startup competitions like She Loves Tech.
And please keep on doing that as well, because we're running out of time. We have to, wrap up the segment as well. Thank you very much, Ms. Rabab. Thank you very much, Ms. Sadaf.
Thank you so much.
This
was terrific.
We need people like you to do these things and to raise their voice. And please keep on doing that in UK too as well. In fact, all around the globe.
All around
and
the
we're thrilled that you are picking up such themes and issues. I think
we love to do so. That's what we're here for.
That's what we do. But we just do not think that people out there are listening. So please make sure, people, that you spread the word of mouth too as well. This is the strongest marketing tool. And if you have daughters, if you have ladies out there, please make sure that you empower them. You give them the confidence to go out and be themselves in whatever they want to do. But right now, we've got a song to share with you guys. Once you guys are going to come back, we're going to talk about an IT company which is growing bigger and bigger and providing more opportunities to Pakistanis. Let's go ahead. Let's
Welcome back to World This Morning. Hope you're having a great morning. We know we are. So just in the first segment, we were talking about how we are economically mobilizing women in Pakistan.
Exactly.
And we also talked about the IT competition and how women are actually going into this field, and it's amazing. So this segment is in line with that. We are talking about how IT is widespread in Pakistan. The person who we are talking about and who will speak to us has been on this show before, I'm pretty sure, Shahzad.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to do, that, we're going to ask him that, when he was here the last time, because I think he's got one of the best organizational structure as well within Pakistan, all around the globe. And it's all about IT solutions. He was the first one to come up with the idea of medical transcription billing. And since then, he's actually came up with some new ideas as well, the organization spreading. And they've got a special place for women in their organization too as well. So on my right-hand side, ladies and gentlemen, we have been joined by somebody who is the founder, executive chairman of MTBC. He is none other than Mr. Mahmood Ulaq. Hello, assalamu alaikum, how are you?
Assalamu alaikum, thank you very much for having me here.
Thank you very much for joining us. So from the last time when you were here and we were talking about medical prescriptions and billing and whatnot online, what has happened? Has the organization expanded in different parts of the world? What's happening?
Right. Basically, we have doubled our size since I was here last time in March. We acquired a company this month, July 2nd, actually. First was a holiday, Sunday. So on July 2nd, we acquired a company which basically doubled our size. So that's exciting news at MTBC.
It is exciting, of course.
Right, and I think that brings with it brings additional jobs and additional opportunities, as you mentioned, for guys and for ladies.
Now, since we're on that, our first segment was about, women empowerment.
Right.
Your MTBC establishment in Islamabad is also, sort of widely known as the poor man's Googleplex.
Right.
How do you address that?
Right. No, I think if you ever visit our location over here, the local office, we have roughly about 15 to 1700 employees, 24/7, 3 shifts, not 7, 3 shifts. And what we have in the facility, as you mentioned, Googleplex mindset, nowhere close to the magnitude or the dollar amount, but we have a parlor for the ladies, we have daycare for the employees who bring their kids to work, we have dental office, we have medical office, we have gym, we have tailor shop for
within that establishment.
Within that establishment. And we have food store, 24/7 cafeteria. So we have all of those. So you're 100% right when you call it a poor man's Googleplex.
Right.
So
well, it is amazing, and we definitely need people like you. And earlier we had guests, to step up in the game as well and do something for the community. But now let's come down to medical billing. And such sort of medical billing we haven't witnessed over here in Pakistan, because I don't think that it's yet here. But how do you think that people might be interested within Pakistan to adopt to this technology? Is it going to make them more aware of where they spend, what they spend, to which doctor they have delivered, whatever they have delivered? How does it work?
Right. If you want to dissect our business into two, one is the technology aspect, the other one is the billing aspect. The billing aspect comes in when you have insurance. So when you go visit a doctor and the insurance is paying the bill, the process of getting that bill to the insurance company and getting it paid, it's called medical billing aspect, which is limited in Pakistan right now, because they are not the insurance is not widely used. The technology aspect is more interesting over here, whether it is telemedicine, where you can see patients from faraway distances, or whether it is the electronic health record, which is basically tracking all of the prescriptions, medication, illnesses, through keeping electronic, just like, if you want to think of email versus letter writing. The email gives you, you can keep track of every email and search it, and I think that's where the technology will be very useful going forward, because more complex medicine becomes, you really need to keep track of all the medication. There are deaths, I'm sure, deaths because of medication reaction between two medication and stuff, and today no one is tracking those.
Right. And so, basically MTBC is working for doctors in US.
Yes.
But there are also establishments for it in Pakistan. So since we're only focusing on doctors in US for now, not about Pakistan, how is that helping the general public or the youth in Pakistan?
I think if you think of what we are doing, and that if you think of what we are doing right now, the same technology could be applied and is being applied in well-known hospitals. If you go to Aga Khan and Shifa International, they are all moving towards technology. And I think that's going to benefit. And anyone who has worked with us and learned the ropes at MTBC, the opportunity for future employment significantly
but what I can see is that, you know, since you just actually acquired another organization which was into medical billing too as well, so I'm looking into something where you are actually not leaving any space for competition too as well. What, are you worried about competition, or you're so advanced in technology that it doesn't matter whatever other companies do, they will actually have to come down to your feet, okay, you know, buy us, whatnot. So how are you doing, how are you playing the game?
There are two ways of answering. The competition in the US and competition in Pakistan, right? Competition in US, because of the advantage that we have, cost advantage, India being the closest competitor, the cost over there roughly is double of what we are paying over here in Pakistan. So that I think we have a built-in advantage, cost advantage, and I think that's the reason that the last company that we acquired had a back office in India, and that advantage is in our favor. Now let's talk about the local companies over here. Let's say there are about 100 medical billing or related companies operating in Islamabad, Rawalpindi or local area. Those are the ones that we would really love to see flourish. And I think it may sound counterintuitive that why would we want our local competition over here to be successful, is because the more people who are working, the more opportunities for people, I think it makes all of us happy.
I think it will lessen your marketing cost too as well. People will get to know about these services better.
Right, and I think that it comes with the warning that we should really make sure that we don't do any of these companies, that we don't do anything that brings bad name to the country.
What do we mean by that?
What that means is that if there are 100 companies and one of them goes bad and does something that harms the image of Pakistan in US, and that brings a bad name to every US Pakistani-based companies, including us. So we need to be aware that we are not only representing us as one company, but on a larger scale, we are representing the country. So we need to make sure the confidence doesn't get eroded because of some short-term gain that we try to get.
Exactly, that's perfect. But towards the end, I definitely want to ask you that, you know, how this company is having an impact on people who are actually working for MTBC. But before we do that, we see that, you know, that the exchange rate, the dollar exchange rates, it's just it's just chaotic at this very moment as well. I know that since it's a US-based organization, so it might not be very challenging. But once the rupee goes up, how challenging it becomes to, you know, suffice all the needs of the organization within Pakistan then?
If you want to think of this thing on a very short-sighted, it's very good for us because now we have to send less dollars to pay this.
But once the currency goes up, Pakistani currency goes up.
Right, and I think it has not happened over the last 70 years, that, you know, it has never really gone up, you know, small hiccups here and there. So I think that's a less of a concern right now to us. But the bigger concern is rupee devaluation, because in the long term, that's not a healthy.
Right. So back to MTBC. MTBC is now a NASDAQ-listed company, right?
NASDAQ, right?
Which is a big achievement. So let's talk about the process, which took you so long, or how long did it actually take you go there?
Okay, because we started in US, let's say in 2000. So we got listed in 2014. So for us, it was a 14-year journey to get to NASDAQ. We've been on NASDAQ for about 4 years now. when you get, anyone can start a private company. It takes 15 minutes online, and you're a business. But they are being listed on a national, world stage, NASDAQ, that you really need to meet a lot of criteria, standards, audit requirements, and I think that was, we were the first healthcare IT company listed on NASDAQ from Pakistan. So we were very pleased. It brings you, if there were 100 NASDAQ listed medical billing companies from Pakistan, I would be the happiest person, because you know that they are all subscribing to the same standard.
Yeah.
So I think that the more, it's very strict, very difficult. You have to spend a lot of money. You have to be of a certain size to be able to afford those bills. But I think that's a gold standard, being listed on whether it's New York or NASDAQ.
Yeah, it is great that you said that as well. But one last thing, and that is that to have acquired so much in, well, I'm not going to say that that the time space was little, but it was quite a lot since you started in 2000. What are other ventures you want to invest in? What are the other opportunities you look into that, okay, this is something, this is something which is going to be beneficial for Pakistanis too as well, whether in Pakistan, whether in US, are you trying to branch out? Are you seeking for partners? Is there anything of that sort?
Right. I think right now, if you look at the medical billing space in the US, we are less than 1/10 of 1%.
Okay.
So we're so small in the bigger picture that the runway is incredible for us to keep on growing right now, and I think that's what we are focused on, the size. The other thing is the technology. On a daily basis, there are new technologies that are being introduced, whether it is telemedicine, which is or the computer assisted medicine. Dermatologists, there's a FDA approved application that will look at your skin and figure out if a mole is cancerous or not. The results of that technology is better than the dermatologists themselves. So I think that level, whether you just put your iPhone on your hand, it will tell you exactly medication that you need. I think that's technology. We have about 300 people, young people over here in Islamabad office, from best schools available. They are working day in and day out, helping us to capture that technology piece.
That's just great. All the best for your future endeavors. Keep up the good work and keep on coming back to Pakistan.
Yeah.
Good.
It makes you feel great. And for people who are out there, please make sure that you play your role as well. You need to play your part. You need to step up in the game. Please make sure that whenever you step in the game, make sure that it's your A game too as well. So please don't forget to write to us on our Facebook fan page, which is with the name of
World This Morning.
On Twitter.
World This Morning -G.
On Daily Motion and YouTube.
World This Morning.
And this fabulous repeat is going to be at
11:05 in the night.
Till the next time, look after yourselves. 1, 2, 3. Good morning.